Yeah, when you're first introduced to Max, he's kind of just coming into the story, a lost kid like every other teenager. You know, at some point in their life, somebody is trying to figure out who they are as a person, and that's where Max is right now. He's trying to understand about his past. He doesn't know a lot about his dad. His dad died when he was really young, and so he's kind of going out looking for these answers, trying to figure out who he is. And he's just moved back to a new town, and so he's just starting school. He's going through the struggles of meeting a girl that he thinks is pretty, you know, going through the typical high school problems, and that's kind of where we start off with him, and then over time he starts to develop this energy that starts flowing through him, and then his life just becomes really crazy. But that's where we are when the movie starts with him.
And as for Sophia, besides being apparently really pretty, no, she's actually quite the opposite. She's very grounded. She knows she has, her feet on the ground at this point. They meet in school, and she kind of befriends him. She finds him mysterious. She thinks that there's something more to him, and she wants to find out what that might be. So she instigates this relationship to start, and this friendship, which ends up benefiting him a lot as he goes through his adventure of becoming Max Steel. Oh, it was terrible.
It was awful. It was terrible. I mean, it was literally just us two, really, in Wilmington. And so we only had each other. We were in this little hotel for such a long time.
It wasn't too little, but
it wasn't that little, but it was little enough. And it was just like really us and then the crew. So when it came to cast, a lot of times it was just me and her. So we were kind of, if we hated each other, it didn't matter.
That would have been really awkward.
Because we were forced to hang out with each other.
What are you trying to say?
No, I'm not saying anything.
No, it actually started even before then, because we met, of course, through the we met, of course, through the chemistry tests, which apparently we passed, and then from there, before going to North Carolina to shoot the movie, we would like meet up for lunch or that kind of thing. So we were trying to get to know each other before getting on set, which I think was pretty awesome. He's all right.
I think for me, I don't know if I have a specific scene or rather scenes that were the most challenging. Steel is completely CGI. He's a CGI character. And so I was talking to the air for about 60% of the movie. I mean, we did this thing called a reference shot where they would bring in like the little green ball and they'd do like a reference pass and then they'd take it out. And I would just have to talk to air. And it was interesting because Steel's very jittery, so he's moving around a lot at times until he starts to get it under control. And so you're just moving your eyes around trying to have dialogue with something, and you feel like a complete idiot. It
was really fun to watch.
And everybody behind camera is cracking up at you, but I'm hoping it turned out well. But that was honestly the most challenging thing for me, was not having something to physically react off of and just have to kind of imagine it and create it for yourself.
Yeah, and then in terms of our scenes together, because most of my interactions are actually with Ben, who is a real person, so that helped. But I think there were some driving scenes that we had to do that, just like with the elements, because my character drives a really cool car, and we're exposed to the world because there's no windows, there's no top. So those were audio; those were kind of hard. But I mean, that's nothing compared to what he went through, because I'm pretty sure that there's not one scene in this movie that Ben was not in. So watching him work was actually more tiring than what I actually had to do. So I mean, hats off to the work that he put into this film, because it's going to be insane.
Thank you. I definitely think, there had to be research done in order to really comprehend what we were doing. But at the same time, it's not really a huge thing. Max Steel isn't a very well-known thing, so we didn't feel like we had fanboys that would be jumping down our throat if we wanted to try different things. And that was what was so great about it, was we did enough research, but then we didn't necessarily stick to certain things that we felt needed to be stuck to. We would try different things, be like, well, let's do this, because you don't have somebody saying, oh, well, back in the 90s this was the way it was in the comic, and so you can't change that. And so that allowed a lot of freedom. But in talking to Mattel, the people who created the character and created the toy and created the franchise, we got as much information as we possibly could.
I definitely researched the brand to familiarize myself with the tone of it all and the story. But my character is completely created for the movie. She was created once I was cast, because originally she was going to be a character from the animated series. So once that happened, it became a very creative process for me personally. And beyond that, having someone having the likes of Chris Yost to guide you through that is pretty insane.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was really easy to fall into such good hands for both of us.
Yeah.
From the outsider looking in, there's no limit to what Max can do when he joins forces with Steel. So that's kind of different. Whereas, a lot of superheroes have like that one power that they have, and that one skill. Max, it's just a matter of controlling his natural energy, which comes from within him. It didn't come from some outside source. It wasn't bought. It's not gadgets. It's not a bite. It's not whatever. It comes from inside him, within him. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's cool because, what she said, you don't really know if there's a limit to what he can do, because along with him finding out in the movie who he is, as he's Max Steel, he's also discovering what powers he has. And it's like every time he's in a new scenario and he's like, I can't use this ability, him and Steel kind of have to come together and be like, what else can we do? And so that's really cool. But what makes them unique and what makes it different than any other superhero I feel like that's been out there is Max. If Max didn't have Steel, Max wouldn't be a superhero. Max is just a kid who has this energy running through him that if Steel wasn't there, he would just explode and die, which is terrible.
Lovely.
But Steel is there. I mean, Max has, like I said, this energy that flows through him, and if Steel isn't there to basically absorb it and control it and harness it, then there would be no Max Steel. Steel and Max coming together creates that character, and that's the first time you've ever really seen it not done, where there's a superhero and a sidekick. Neither one of them is the sidekick. They both need each other, and that's what's really cool and unique about it.